the thousands, was it up to 100,000 people who were in the stadium who got to watch Queen get to perform that song, and it was such a hit, such a phenomenal hit. Anyway, speaking of phenomenon, let's get to a phenomenon that is very well known in this part of the world. Where's that? Yeah, here it is. Let me say it again. SUG. Student Union Government. Now, this is about the third time, if I'm honest, that I've had a conversation about the SUG in the past 5 years. Some of those conversations were, pretty feisty, they were, as it were, a reflection of what was going on. However, today's conversation is more about perception. So here it goes. There was a video I saw, I think it was about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It depicted the student union government officials of a school, I think it was in Kaduna, and I think it was Zaria or Sokoto, can't remember. And these dudes were all, very business-like, storming out of the building. There was a convoy of cars, about 3 cars. The student union president, who is meant to be a student, had like protocol officers. People were opening doors to open doors so that he can enter. He didn't stop there. Oh no, he stopped there. By the time they arrived at a destination on campus, it was the same thing. He comes out and then they are cheering, students, hey, and then people are like, give me space, give me space. Our SUG president is coming. Okay. To what end? And then I saw another one. In fact, I've seen about 3 or 4 videos. And then my mind was cast to University of Port Harcourt. My time there, they didn't really have that air of and on the SUG, let's call it pomposity, or I don't know, pride. I don't know, some inflated sense of importance. I don't know what it is, but these children, these young adults, these students, right, seemingly have deviated from what the SUG used to stand for. Let me take you back, if I may. Please, permit me. You see, the history of the student union government, SUG Nigeria, will find its roots back in 1956. Back then, it was called the National Union of Nigerian Student NUNS, which was aimed to unite campus unions and represent Nigerian students. Obviously, as time went by, it transformed into the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, in 1980, which is what we know today, which replaced then the banned nuns. Anybody want to hazard a guess why nuns was banned? I'll leave that. That will be your assignment. Now, the SUGs have played a very crucial role in advocating for students' rights and welfare, and they have been instrumental in various protests and campaigns throughout Nigeria's history. My first experience with student unionism was in University of Benin in the early 2000s, right? As a young strapping lad who was trying to get into university, my family had, I had relatives who were in Unibed. So we went to Unibed, right? So we left the house back then, Jerry in Benin, left the house. Went to Ring Road, took a bus. Ring Road. We got to Ring Road. Ugbawa, Uniben Gate, main gate. We jumped in, myself and my cousin jumped in because, we wanted to get into the school very early. This was early at 7 o'clock to meet with somebody who was going to help us with some information, blah, 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 since I was looking for admission. Now, we got to main gate. Those of you who know Uniben, we got to main gate. And we got there and there were no buses. There was a mass of human bodies walking in. No buses. The buses were there, right? But they were not allowed to move. Obviously, we were frustrated. We were angry. But then we heard, why this bus not dey move? They say SUG say make bus no comot because bus drivers want increase transport from 10 naira to 20 naira because fuel no dey. What? My young self couldn't understand it, couldn't believe it. That the students were vehemently opposed. There was no carrying sticks and let's go and break. No, they just told the student body, right? If any bus driver demands 20 naira, come down and walk. Don't enter. Don't pay. Whether you're going to a basement, whether you're going to faculties, don't pay. If it's not 10 naira, I will never forget this. If it's not 10 naira, don't pay. Day 1, same thing. Day 2, the same thing. Day 3, the same. On the 4th day, ladies and gentlemen, an agreement was reached. Oh no, they did not increase the price to 15 naira. It was 10 naira. That was the student union body I remember, my first experience. I didn't get to see student union presidents carrying convoys moving all around the place. I didn't see them, vying to go and see the governor, to tell the governor that we are supporting you. On your mandate, we shall stand. I didn't see that. But what do I know? You tell me. Simple question. What is your perception of today's student unionism?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. Then please do well, send us a message to 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. As always, please don't forget, turn down the volume of your radio set when you call in. And please, the last number is strictly for the reception of messages. Namdi is on the line from Ahoda. Let's get to say hello to Namdi. Namdi, good morning to you. Welcome to Hello Port Harcourt.
Okay, Jude,
good morning.
We can all agree that what we have now as student union is not what it used to be. Maybe for people who left school maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, to be very honest. But do I blame you completely at the students? No. Over time, I've realized that society does not fail in isolation.
Wow.
If a society is failing, it drags every other thing alongside it. You understand? People who are student union presidents or whatever now are probably 10, 15, 20 years ago were newborns. And most of these things, you learn leadership from environment, your society, and all that. Over time, as a nation, we have also seen different degrees and forms of leadership failure. So you cannot have student unions who all of a sudden have become saints or are masters in leadership when there is no role model, there is no leadership models for them to look at. So it becomes a total, what should I call it, failure on all aspects. I saw something online yesterday. A student union, the president of school, I don't want to mention the name, I saw it online. The young man, the student union president, had security details about it. He was driving in they were driving in a Camry 2013 or 2013. I think for a very short distance. And the security details, who I assume are also...
So students, likely?
We are running. You know the way the president is moving?
Yes. DSS style.
More or less now, DSS students. It was an utter madness for me. I said, if I were to be a parent and I see that video and that supposed security detail is my son, I will fund his university education. So what's the point I'm trying to make? It's sad, and it's something that might be difficult to combat because there are actually no role models.
But is it really something that cannot be combated, Namdi? Because there are some schools. Hello, Namdi, are you still with us?
I'm with you, but see, my pessimism is. I should ask you, as we as a nation, currently or in the very short distance, who do we have leaders? Or do we have role models in leadership? Let me ask you.
Okay, well,
just like you said, that apart from pay fingers or your mandates, whatever, that we just have around, there are people you can't look at. You say, okay, these are people with integrity. There are people you can't look at. You would say very few. So these are the things young people are also learning. They feel like this is what they've been introduced all their life. They feel like this is the only leadership they know about. So if for now, I don't know if there is light at the end of the tunnel, but what it is now is not what it used to be 25, 30 years ago, or even 10, 15 years ago.
I'll have to agree with you, even 10, 15 years ago. But Namdi, thank you very much. Namdi speaking to us from Ahoda. All right, so now, based off of what he said, I have a question, right? And it's a question that I will have to share with you right after this break. Stay tuned, 90.3. along with it. Good morning, bottom of the hour. This is Hello Port Harcourt right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Our starter this morning is on the perception, your perception in particular, of the SUG governments across the country. Yes, from Uniport to LASU to RSU to Ahmadu Bello University Zaria to Usman Danfodio, wherever you are listening to us from right now, at some point in time you may have come in contact particularly with public schools where they have SUG bodies. Now, I don't know about the private institutions. I don't think private institutions allow unionism. I don't know. But I do know at some point in time there were students in some private schools who, out of frustration said, you know what, we're going to protest against whatever this school is doing. We didn't like it. Now, let me be very clear. I am not here to state that student bodies should go on a rampage of protest because they want their voices to be heard or because they want to be actively involved in whatever political, machinations are in vogue at the moment. No, nay. However, they are a very important subset of our community, of a nation. They are more often than not the labor force, whether they are upcoming or already involved in the labor activities, cannot be disputed. We've seen over the years in some countries, we've seen labor unions working with student unions to oppose government policies. Student bodies have placed nations on standstill. That's not what we're calling for. But the point here is, many people have opined that many of the so-called student union body presidents and groups these days seemingly have one primary focus: to place a stamp of approval on a political figure. It's not unusual these days for the student union body, National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS or whatever, to pay courtesy calls to a local government councillor. It's not unusual these days when you have a new governor or an incumbent. It's not unusual these days to have NANS, to have the SUG body, to come and knock at the door and write letters. We, the student union body of so and so school, would like to have an audience with the governor to highlight his developmental strides. The cacophony of rubbish, ladies and gentlemen, that tends to be spewed out in forms of letters to political figures these days from SUG bodies can be nothing short of mind-boggling. I've seen a few. Some of you have seen a few. So what then is the driving force? Is it really isolation? I have a friend who said, well, there are a few schools left in Nigeria who take their student union bodies very seriously because some of the teachers, some of the lecturers who are there were products of that school and they were very active in the student union body. And so they passed that same ethos to the students. The lecturers, it would seem, promotes and encourage student union bodies not just to be independent, but to be, quote-unquote, consciences of themselves. But we've also heard stories of some universities who plant spies into the student union body, who would want to, as it were, decide who a student union president should be, who would want to, as it were, control the activities so that, quote-unquote, there is peace on campus. I am not here to say that, every student union body should be a promoter of violence and whatnot. But it seems very interesting that over the years, NANS wakes up some mornings, how many of you remember about 3 years ago, giving ultimatums? We, the National Association of Nigerian Students, were giving the federal government 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. If not, we will shut down the school. Okay. To what end? Why? Not saying that the students don't have a right to protest. Please listen very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Listen very carefully. But the perception is what I am asking. How do you perceive these, unions, these student bodies? Do they seemingly protect the interest of those who are within the confines of that body? Do they speak for the larger body, that is Nigeria? Like I said, One of my first experiences with the student union body in this country was at the University of Benin. Little wonder when, during the hashtag #EndSARS protest, University of Benin students cooked beans in front of main gate along the express road. There's a saying in Benin. University not the year word. Were 9 day there. Uniben students. Ben boys. I don't know about what they say about Uniports, but hey. Let's have a conversation, shall we? 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and X at Nigeria Info PH. All right, then send us a message to the WhatsApp number. The number is 0809-030-6416. 923. Oh dear. Hello, good morning. Oh, another severed connection. Apologies. Please do try the other numbers available. 0817-923-0007. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp now is 0809-030-6416. 92.3 Nigeria. Good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Jude, very good morning.
Good morning to you, please. Welcome.
Yeah. To answer your question, what is the perception about student unionism? For me, the perception right now is that across the length and breadth of Nigeria, student unionism is dead. Okay? Hello?
I'm listening to you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please turn off your radio. I can hear you. Go on, please.
All right. So, student unionism is completely dead. It's non-existent. The video you saw some time ago about a student union president in the north. It is all over. I don't see where there are exceptions now. If you ask me, I don't know. The university setting with a difference, that is the story all over. Essentially, it ought to be a pressure group. That should not just dictate for good governance in the university system, but even at the level of the macro society. And I tell you what, maybe you were younger then.
I was.
It took the student union in the 90s, to tackle the military. The military government. It took the student union, to protest against the structural adjustment program, SAP.
Under Babangida.
Exactly. To whip government into line, essentially. So it was not just, that's to tell you when we had it, like Achebe would say, there was a country, I think, let me not just waste our time. There was student unionism, but right now, my perception, and I don't know who will contradict it, is that student unionism in Nigeria university system is just dead.
Would you say that it's partially because the lecturers themselves are not as well supportive of the same means and methods?
No. Even back in the day, we didn't depend on the lecturers, as it were, to propel the activities of student union. We didn't. It was just natural. They knew their roles. We didn't depend on ASU, as a big brother.
Yeah.
To take the pace for us.
Yeah, but they were enlightened because of the lecturers. They were enlightened because of what education was bringing to them. And many of the so-called professors today were also part of those student union bodies in the 90s and 80s. I'm very sure some of them are listening to us. They were able to do those things because their own lecturers told them of what running a government, what running a society truly meant.
Yes, I quite agree with you. Back in the day, and even if you ask me now, unionism across board, whether it is the labor union, and I felt I was a student when I started hearing of Frank Kokori. I was a student when I started hearing of Michael Imodu. These were distinguished, labor leaders who made their marks, in the history of unionism in this country, But today, like I said, I can't even make reference to the Nigerian Labor Union as a strong,
pressure body.
Pressure group. I can't, So, like your first caller said that, well, we cannot divorce, what is happening in the society with what is going on with these micro groups and institutions. But particularly for student unionism, Jude, I do not know if there is anything contrary that is happening to the fact that the student union is lifeless as we speak now. That's just my submission. That is my take.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Very appreciative, please. Good morning.
Thank you, Jude. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Zion's on the line from Jerry. Zion, good morning to you.
If for Rivers State, there is nothing like students' union, including the state union, maybe like NOBS or NOS, they no longer exist because the political class have hijacked that arm of national building. Go back to the history of Nigeria, of Africa. Every move that was made to place the Pan-African agenda, the student unions are always there. Was it in times of Mandela? Mobutu Sese Seko? Mention them. The student union here in Nigeria, you just made mention of the SAP, not only the SAP. In fact, before government policies are being promulgated to become a law, students' union are being consulted for health. But today, here in Nigeria, student unions are all dead. I want to ask, the so-called SUG president in a renowned university, what is a CGPA? It's cut off. What? In my days, it is 3.70. If you don't have it, forget about even contesting. So you found out that the SUG or the student union government was made up of brilliant minds, not political minds.
Brilliant minds.
Men who can challenge their results. You fail me or you give me F in this course, okay, I will challenge you. Mr. Lecturer, come and tell me. Today, I've asked this question before now. Are students still challenging their results again? That is why you see a lecturer can just fail you and go, and nothing will happen. A lecturer can come and back and just mess up with the student. I was in this Kensal game now. Kensal, there was Liberty Polytechnic. When Professor Bibi Fakai was the rector, he knows my name. He knows me. Because I was one of those students, always engaging, sir. You want to bring e-payment. What is the benefit for the student? We engaged this rector over a week before the policy was being added. River State Polytechnic was the first university polytechnic in Nigeria that used cash card to pay their school fees. The last riot that happened there, my elder brother, then they were in accountancy. Didn't they bring the lecturer, the rector down to his knees and listen to what the students are going through? You sought to pass, you read to know. We taught it. Today, can River State University, the known USD, Uniport, I'm mentioning it again. Oh, my brother. In fact, to me, I've even said to some people who just finished their WAEC, forget about going to the university for now. Go and learn handwork. Go and learn a trade. Because the university for today, there are a lot of students that don't go to school. They are at home.
doing their business, so their into runs, whatever. At the end of the semester, they give a lecturer money, they give them a score. And that's the kind of SUG you have who cannot even engage the government. That is why today, Mile Kiari or whatever will come and say, petrol pump price is 500 naira. Or the last issue that has to involve with the NAMS, I called NAMS President General from River State here. We are in support. Yes, I'm no longer in the system, but the unionism, injury to one is injury to all. Aluta, continue, etc. We will stand by you. Less than 24 hours, he collected money, and that issue died off. My brother, for now, student unionism has been hijacked by the politicians. They now use them for their sake. That even politicians now determine who's going to be the SUG president. Rectors or VCs now will be the SUG president. So what did you say? Even the student senate government cannot even speak when school fees will be hijacked by the government, by the school of.
Hello.
The school senate is against the students. Students are being bullied. Students are being frustrated. Students are being sent out of examination hall. See, even the SUG cannot speak. To be honest, the student harm, as they died, they affect the growth and economy of Nigeria. Mr. Zion.
All right, thank you very much. Messages now. The vibrant spirit of advocacy at Ignatius Ajero University, RSU, Uniport, seems to have been replaced by a stomach infrastructure mentality where personal gain outweighs the collective welfare of the students. Many feel that the student union government, SUG, has become a mere extension of the administration rather than a shield for the people that they represent. Instead of challenging policies or demanding better facilities, there is a growing perception that leaders are more focused on their own pockets and political survival. This shift has left the average student feeling abandoned, turning what used to be a powerful voice for change into a silent partner in their struggles. The student union is now a tool for the staff to oppress the students now. Interesting. Jude, good morning. Student unionism has been compromised. Students from our higher institutions are errand boys and girls to the political class. Every student wants to make money while in school since they are not sure of life after school. This is sad. John Google with that comment. Fascinating. Keep those thoughts coming through. This one here says, Jude, good morning. Blame it on the disunity of the student's body. Every student union government, SUG, is fighting her cause, nothing more. Not for the entirety of the students anymore. The then days are actually gone. Because presently, even the lecturers will team up and punish such a leader for fighting or standing for the concerns of the students. That is why we see unspeakable evil met out on the students and around the campuses whilst in school. Jude, is more like you're on your own. OYO. It beams with that comment. This one says, Jude, good morning. When I was in Uniport, we had at one point in time a very vibrant SUG. Then it seems to me that cultists took over and then the school had to struggle to try and contain it. That's why for a while it seems as though Uniport was always having one cult clash or one SUG fight or the other. Every single SUG time, every SUG election in my time always resulted in a fight. But these days, it's looking more like people want to go into SUG so they can get money. Did you know, Jude, that the Senate in the SUG collects sitting allowance? Sitting allowance, oh yes, I think I remember hearing this. Oh yeah, I think I did. This was about, was that 2021? After the lockdown, we had some student lawyers come through, some law students, speak to us. Whoa, that's true. Anyway, let me finish this up. And so the average SUG person is looking for a way to boost their CV so that they can get into politics or look for greener pastures outside. They don't really care about what is happening in the country or with their fellow students. Interesting. Strong words there. 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. All right, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Now, on Facebook, Rashid Oricha says, I think the SUG should be overhauled. The purpose of it has been jeopardized and turned into something else. There is need for a total reform. Makachika Dikenuba says, if you're not a cultist, you can't play politics in school. All SUG presidents are cultists. Politics in school should be banned. Interesting. Okay. All right, Don Smart says the SUG of these days in every school all compromise from our today's leaders. They are no longer getting it right. Interesting. No longer getting it right. Those are the messages on Facebook. Jude, let me tell you, this is a message on WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. It says, let me tell you my story. Today, students and lecturers have replaced the value of education for money. When I was in school, I had difficulty with the course quantitative technique. I met the lecturer after telling him my difficulties. He said I should help him to cooperate with him as he's going to make me take me on the private lesson on the course. And I gladly accepted. Jude, I scored A, and I even lectured my classmates. But today, students and lecturers are out of sorts now. Good justice with that comment. Good, thank you very much. Elder Joseph Adolphus from Degama says, good morning. The corrupt environment we find ourselves in this country, instead of the SUG to regulate and shape the students, it has now turned into a politicized money-making venture than giving services to the students. In my perception, the SUG are now renewed hopelessness against students and the society. Wow. Renewed hopelessness for the students. I wonder how the students feel about this. Interestingly, I didn't get to hear from a current student. I was hoping I was going to hear from a current student, but maybe they're in their lecture halls right now. Maybe, just maybe. But needless to say, the perception, at least from this small sample size this morning, would indicate that most people don't have much of a trust in the SUG. And for those of you who are vying to become, SUG governor, PRO, director of socials and whatnot, I think it's great. But what really is your end game?